Welcome back to Convento di San Giacomo. Today I want to take you on a tour of the ancient stone wall that surrounds much of the grounds of the convent. So we'll go for a walk down the hill and around the boundary wall, and I'll show you a few things that are a little bit scary and some really beautiful things along the way, including an absolutely glorious sunset. So stay tuned for that at the end of the episode. We are above the clouds again this morning. I don't think I'll ever get tired of this. The way that the city of Todi looks like it's floating in the sky above the clouds. It just whisks me away every time. And strangely enough, not only does it not get old, but I think I actually enjoy it even more as I spend more time here. There is that castle on that hilltop again. It is a beautiful day, so I am going to go take a walk, and actually I'm going to inspect a problem that I discovered the other day and show you what's going on and a little bit about what we're going to do to deal with it. But it requires that I go on a pretty long walk, so I'll kind of show you while I'm on my way the outside wall of the convent. So this is our beautiful front gate, and it is the main entrance to the convent, and one of only two gates that we have in the wall surrounding the convent. And here is part of our olive grove. Some of it is inside the wall, and some of it is outside the wall. And there's this lovely historical sign that the municipality installed last year that has some information in Italian and down below in English about the history of the convent. Here you can see more of our olive grove. I love this big tree here. It's just begging for a picnic table, isn't it? I think that would be a wonderful place to have a dinner to celebrate, or a lunch to celebrate the olive harvest next year. Up on top of the hill there, that's the Contessa's house. Here's our second gate. And these two gates are the only entry points that we have in the convent wall. There is a wall surrounding part of the convent grounds, actually about half of it. So it's quite an impressive wall because it encloses about 12 acres of grounds, and then the other half of the convent's 25 acres is outside of the wall. So this wall was one of the things that I was most concerned about when we were thinking about buying the convent. Someday I would love to figure out exactly how long it is, but a wall enclosing 12 acres is a pretty long wall. Maybe it's a mile of stone wall. So it's a big responsibility to make sure that it stays intact. But it is a pretty lovely magical feature, beautiful stone wall. This gravel lane outside the convent is so pretty. It's windy and it's right on the edge of a hill with, of course, the view over the Tiber River. And you can really see here that we're surrounded by woods. Most of the convent's grounds are forest. Not all of these woods belong to the convent. They're divided up between a handful of neighbors, and actually much of it still belongs to the church, to the Diocese of Orvieto Todi. There's a little glimpse of the Ponte Bridge down below. And here, I'll give you a glimpse of the wall that I'm talking about. So here's a bit of the wall. We have this incredible line of cypress trees. That line, part of the wall, it's amazing because you can see it, the line of trees down below from the village. It's sort of a landmark that lets you know you're looking at San Giacomo. And here is the southern corner of the wall, and you can see there's a sign here pointing towards the front gate here, because we're on this circuit of tourist attractions called the Parco di Colle di Todi, the Park of the Hills of Todi. And here you can get a sense of, in some places, this wall is quite substantial. Here is a little path that goes on down to the village at the bottom of the hill. The village is called Pontecudi. We are approaching another segment of the wall here that's a bit of a concern. You can see the patch of green above the wall there. That's the ground inside. So this wall is acting a little bit like a retaining wall. And actually what the prior owners did, or I don't know who did it, but some prior owners dug the earth back, dug a sort of trench behind the wall to prevent it from becoming essentially a retaining wall. But, you know, there is some pressure certainly being put against the bottom of this wall. And you can see here these holes are to help the water drain out so it doesn't get too moist. And there is a barrier on the top of the wall to prevent water from going in, but it's, as you can see, quite grown over with ivy, and I'm not very confident in the integrity of that barrier at the moment. The barbed wire, even in some places, is folding over. If anybody knows a way to make barbed wire more beautiful than this, tricks for hiding it in foliage or anything like that, I would love to hear about that. This is quite strange. A piece of the barbed wire has hopped off the top of the wall and is sitting in this little sapling. How strange is that? That, my friends, is the first sign of the minor catastrophe that you are about to see. And here it is. This tree has decided that it didn't want to be next to this wall anymore, and so it just gave it a little shove, and here it is. Such a sad, crumbled wall. And you can see this piece is leaning out too. If we don't do something soon, this problem is going to get worse. And I'll show you, the wall continues around the corner here, and this path continues through the woods, and you can already see from here that a tree has fallen down over the top of the wall. So that is something that we're going to have to deal with too before it damages the wall. And believe it or not, there's actually a second tree beyond this one that's in a similar position. And I'm a little nervous here. I wonder if you can see it on camera. I'm not sure I can really capture it, but the wall is sort of bowing out a little bit, and I'm not totally sure whether it's just a curve in the wall or whether it's actually leaning out, but to me, it looks like it's leaning out. This is kind of dangerous to be down here. And something that we need to be thinking about is the wild boar. We don't really want to leave the wall open like that. I mean, this area has wild boar. And hunting them is a popular pastime. You'll see it on the menus in a lot of the restaurants around here. The Italian word for it is cinghiale. And I've seen some, not here, I've seen some driving around in another area of Todi, not on this road. I have heard them on this road at nighttime. I've never actually been able to see them, but sometimes when I'm walking on the inside of this wall at nighttime, I can hear the boar rummaging around in the woods out here. So I know that they're here, and I really don't want them to get inside the wall because they can cause a lot of damage. So we are going to set up a temporary barrier, and a very sturdy one, in hopes that we can prevent the boar from getting inside until we can fix the wall properly. Check out this house on top of the hill across the way. I love doing this. There's so many gorgeous houses on the hillsides around here. I love just looking out across the valley and imagining who lives in these incredible places. Can you see up near the top of the hill, there's a big stone ruin of an old tower. Beautiful. And can you imagine living in this house in the woods here and looking out your back window at this medieval tower? How cool is that? Oh! It's a pheasant. Wow. Isn't that amazing? There are just pheasants wandering around in the brush here. Enjoying the view. There you can get a glimpse of the main villa at the convent. And we're back. So here, Gabriele dropped off this metal fencing, and Sanjay found the green metal stakes in one of our terrace gardens, the one where the pool is about to go. So we don't need them any longer in the place where they were. So he was able to take them out, and we'll reuse them. We will stake them down where the wall has crumbled and attach the metal fence to that, and that will hopefully keep it in place for now and keep the boar out until we can actually get somebody to come in and sadly remove that tree, and then a mason in here to fix the wall. You can also see here that Sanjay has taken the shutters off of the east face of the orangery because they're wooden and they were rotting, and he's patched them up and he's starting to give them a new paint job. But I've decided that I want to change the color of them. And so, of course, I've got to ask the municipality for permission to change the color of them. And hopefully they will soon become a lovely shade of coppery green, like the shade of green that you see in a lot of frescoes. I always loved a warm green tones, olivey greens, the kinds of greens that I'm wearing, warmer shades of green, and I didn't like cool shades of green until I moved here, and it's something that's really changed in me, I think, because as I spend so much time looking at the beautiful Giotto frescoes in Assisi, and also the fresco here in the convent that the friars painted in 1731, and in the frescoes in the churches in Todi. There's a common color palette that frescoes have, and the greens that you see in them are most of the time a cool green, a bluer green that fades into this really light green color that looks like a copper patina. And I have just fallen in love with this shade of green, and I want all of our painted shutters to go from this brown color to that coppery green color. And I think it'll really complement the peachy color that we have painted the brick and stone here and the plaster on the villa. I think it will look even peachier when positioned next to a coppery green shutter. Please hit the subscribe button and click the little bell so you'll get notified when I post the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and ciao for now from Convento di San Giacomo.